to find someone just like you. Those eyes, just like you. In my dream, she smiles at me.
All right, welcome to the Eric J. the Great podcast show. Got a very special guest on the show today, Reggie Braxton. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Eric. Doing good.
First off, tell the people where you from.
Okay, I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit.
Detroit.
For anybody that never been to Detroit, just to describe how it was growing up there, just as an African American.
Well, for me, growing up in Detroit, I saw a lot of changes happen, and I've been around long enough to know we got our first mayor, Coleman Young, and so that really changed everything because when he got in office, he he had some mandates for the police department that they need to live with inside the boundaries of Detroit, and so he was trying to really look out for a lot of harassment that was happening back in when I was growing up. So I've seen that change happen there. I think a lot of times too when you're a kid, you just running around playing, so a lot of stuff that you become aware of once you get older. When you're a kid, man, you just run up down the street, man, until it's time to your mama tell you it's time to come home, and so that was always the case. I was heavily into playing basketball and sports, so the music scene. We always sang, we always, we get in the hallways and we stay in two-family flat. And so when you in that hallway, you get a chance to hear your voice and so that was cool. But musically, if we're talking about that, I grew up with my grandmother who was, we called her Biggs. Big Mama, I shortened it to call her Biggs, and she was really provider for us, and she was no joke, and she was special, man. She loved music. She was a blues singer, and so that kind of I was always around music because she would be singing. And had a little organ and upstairs flat. She had upstairs flat. We stayed downstairs. And so I just always remember music being around. And as I said, between sports and music, I actually got into music really late. And because I remember wanting to play piano like I have here, but our house was so small that you really couldn't fit a piano in a house, and so so when I got old enough to buy one is when I was able to actually get started, which was in my 20s and everything, and so I was kind of self-taught with that, but prior to that, we would all be singing and trying to do the group thing, but me and my boys and stuff, we would we tried to, it was the Temptations, then the Dramatics, and different groups that we wanted to emulate. And my cousin, which was a big influence, Melvin Franklin, who was he's the bass singer for the Temptations. So that was that was huge for me because we had a chance to. Motown was big. And so growing up in that era and having a cousin that was like, the Temptations, they was all of that. And so to be able to see that up close and personal, it was impactful, because everybody was poor. I mean, you don't realize, as I said, as a kid, but you look back and where we're at and living at. We're on the poor side, the west side, and but then they would come by. They had little do rags on and things like that, and we're in awe of everything. The next thing you see them on TV, they doing their thing. So you're saying, wow, just super impressed with that. So that really kind of lit the fire. Man, wow, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but one day, I want to be like my cousin Mel. I want to be able to put music out and what people would be jamming to and enjoying music. So that kind of really had a big impact on my life as far as musically. And but yeah, I was in the basketball, man. That was my thing every day, going out and hooping, and played in high school and college, and but music was always there, and I was always in pursuit of trying to figure out how I could get into music, and so that was pretty much it, in terms of growing up and between sports and music. That was always a balance, trying to figure out how I was going to do that. They had like the what you call it, talent shows and things like that. I was real shy with that. I didn't, I wasn't the one who would say, hey, let me sing and stuff, even though I could sing better than a lot of people were singing. And, I remember, we had like, one of my boys who he played basketball together, his sister, he had older brothers and sisters. They had like the reel at the time. And so we started singing, everybody's singing, and his sister, Barbara Jane, she said, well, Reggie sounds better than all y'all. Like y'all, let him sing, so that was fun. And so that kind of, one thing leads to another, in terms of, giving the confidence to say, hey, let me put my hand in, so that was good. It seemed like something always happens to keep you motivated, to keep you pushing the right direction or something, trying to pursue this dream, and so it's still same today, you're around people who encourage you to move forward, let you know that you got a talent, and so makes you work hard and want to go ahead and pursue it and become better at what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that come to your mind when you hear your hometown?
When what now?
When you hear your hometown?
When I'm in or here?
Here.
Uh-huh. Well, I think when I hear about my hometown, I think that, it's people, man, who really want to get it, man. We're people who, man, if I'm gonna get it, I gotta get up and get it myself. Most of us wasn't born a silver spoon in our mouth, so we learn like at an early age, if you want something, you really got to go out and get it and make it happen. So, work ethic, um, uh, gritty, you know what I'm saying? Keep it genuine, kind of keeping it real, learn to, when I hear about my city, it's more like, hey man, we people who had to really make things happen, you know, uh, you know, that type of thing, but given the chance, we feel like, hey, we're gonna do all right, hardworking people, um, prideful, that type of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I know it's kind of different now, back in the day, from modern times when people, come across their first experience, coming across recording studios. But, well, take me back to the first time you ever was in a recording studio, just, that experience.
Well, it took me a long time, I recorded, I recorded an album. Well, actually, it was about 6 songs. And so it took me a long time to actually get into the studio, but it was a lot of history. The people that I was around, I think one of the first studios was Sylvia Moy. She was actually wrote My Sharia Moore with Stevie Wonder. They had like a studio like on the North End, and then it was another studio that I went to mix. Wasn't United. I can't, the name evades me now, but, really it was a home studio, a good friend of mine, Alan Barnes, who was really gave me that first experience. He was, I don't know if you familiar with a group called Donald Byrd and the Blackbirds. And so they were, legendary, jazz. Donald Byrd was at, Howard University. He put together like some talented guys, and they formed a group called the Blackbirds. So Alan Barnes, great saxophone player, was really like a mentor for me. And so he was, I saw him put songs together rather than, just like I got here. He had a home studio, and then I really learned how see what can happen when somebody really knew what they were doing as far as producing. So we really did. My first experience was in a home studio, and then we went, after we put the music down, we took it to to like, more of a formal type studio situation. But yeah, that was really my first experience as going to the studio. And it was, it was exciting because you always want to be in the studio and see what's going to happen. So, but a lot of repetition, a lot of, like anything else, you learn as you go, how do I approach the mic? How do I, relax, you know, uh, to get the best performance. So, which, like anything else, you learn from that. But, that was pretty much it on me, as far as studio wise was, started off in a home studio, and, then you're able to go, uh, to the formal studio, as you would call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who was that inspiration for you growing up? Who was that artist that you looked up to?
Mhm. Mhm. Wow. It's, it was just like a number. I just used to really love music. And so it's kind of all over the place. I didn't really have one individual that, cause it was just so much talent. As I say, I grew up in the era of Motown. So, you know, it was just so much good music. I can't just say it was any one particular person. I think it was just a collaboration of hearing a lot of good music and saying, man, I want to be able to contribute something that will make music or be a part of music that people, just like I would go and they had the jukeboxes, and I would put my money in the jukebox, so I go and buy those little 45s and play the thing over and over again. I say, man, I would love to be able to put myself in a situation where people were playing Reggie Braxton and playing me over and over again. So it didn't really matter. It wasn't, because I like male artists. I love female artists. I had instrumentalists that I really like, so if I heard it, then it's just with music always would just, if I was in a funk or whatever, I put some music on, or that always brought me around no matter what. All through my life, it was always music that took me to a better place, and so, I just say it was one particular person. I can't say it was just really one. And then with me, how some people could sound like other people, I could never really emulate voices, so I had to really find my own voice, and then, when I was younger, it's always the guy could sing these high notes, you know what I'm saying? Like the tenors, first tenors. And they would get all the props, the chicks would be all, the guy could sing them high notes. So that wasn't my voice. So I had to kind of find my own voice. And then the more I pursued it, like Sam Cooke, all these different guys, after I got into the history of music, I understand that, yeah, it's a place for you. You got from C to C, up and down this keyboard, your key is in there,
Mhm.
everything is relative. So I had to really, once I learned that, then I said, okay, I can find my way through this. And, all I got to do is put the time in, but it's there, So, and that's the beauty about music, is if it's you first you hear it inside, once you hear it, you can really produce it, but you got to hear it first, So I don't know if that answers your question, but
Oh yeah, absolutely. Are you currently independent or are you signed to anybody?
no, I'm independent right now. So music game is really changing, in that, and from my understanding is that, you got to really do a lot of work on your own. It's like watching, a good example would be like watching Shark Tank, in Shark Tank, the people that come on, they say, well, hey, man, what kind of revenue you got, man? What you got going, blah, blah, blah. So the more you put in, and that they have to do less work to help you. You know what I'm saying? So my approach has been, if you check my stuff out, I have, I've done the artwork. I got my flyers. I've done my music. I got my album. So for me, it's going to be less work for somebody that want to sign me because I've already got a lot of the stuff done. All I need is the machine to get behind me. Right. So I kind of look at the approach. And if I'm a business, which I am a business owner, if I'm going to work with somebody, I want to see how much you believe in yourself, how much skin you got in the game. And trust me, I put a lot of, not just, effort and time, but you got to spend money in terms of to make different things happen. So it's like betting on me. I'm betting on Reggie Braxton. And so hopefully in order to really get to that next level, you need to have somebody who believes in your music, who has that bread behind that they can put your stuff out there. So that's kind of where I'm at with the independent thing. And the good thing is, Eric, is I love what I'm doing. So all while I'm doing this, I can sit here, man, and I can be all night working on my stuff, hearing stuff. Next thing I know, man, it's 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Ain't nobody had me hostage down here. I'm down here myself, working on what I do, So, that's kind of where I'm at with that. But I have faith in what I'm doing, and just to get to the point, man, that to have your music on Apple, Spotify, and your music charting, so there's success in that already. So I'm humble and appreciative of what's happening so far, and hopefully greater things will happen.
Absolutely. How often you record now?
Man, I'm going to the studio today. Just wrote another song, and uh, so I try to get in there, whenever, now, I'm getting a system together, and I got a brother who really nice studio. So I work out my ideas. I go, now me and him became cool. I can say, hey man, I got some ideas on to put down. And so we just go, and then the kind of development like that. So saves time because I'm not an engineer per se. I'm more, I can play, sing, and do my thing. So I'm not what you call a really like a Dre, a simple producer, but you pass the mind, can you give them that idea? And then they know how to just blow the thing up. So that's kind of where I'm at. And just happy to be able to start as a, you know, get your ideas down, which is the root. And then they add all the strings or whatever you want to, drums or whatever, and go from there. But no, I love being in the studio, because it always, once I hear it coming back at me, it makes me happy. And I can tell you, man, I remember when I used to hear myself, man, I hated how I sound. So just to get to the point now, man, I can put my own stuff on and really enjoy it. So, that's a really big thing for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Kind of describe the current music scene in Detroit right now. Just your opinion on it.
Well, I think what's happening is, um, you gotta, even myself, I gigged around the city for a long time, and my friends, they are, we got some of the best musicians. I think they're world-class musicians, like there are probably in each city or whatever you go to. I think talent is everywhere for sure. But I think that it's not a lot of venues, to, you got some venues. It's not like in New York, you got guys playing at a few clubs, they do, get some gigs, people hire them, they play at restaurants, things like that. So, uh, it's kind of random, you know what I'm saying? It's like, um, uh, guys looking to work all the time, so it's not a whole lot of going on. You got a few guys that got some gigs and things like that. But, um, you know, hopefully that improves. But, um, yeah, so it just kind of random depending on where you're at with that, who you know. Um, but, guys are constantly trying to find work, as far as the music scene goes with that, as far as musicianships. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, take me back to the first time you dropped music to the public. I know that's always a big
Uh-huh.
uh a moment in people careers, when people know that you're taking it serious and that you and they actually able to hear your stuff like for the first time. How was people around the city
Right.
embracing you, like people you did know and people you didn't know, because
Yeah.
it's different. You got people you don't know coming up to you, be like, "Hey man, I like that, man. Like you need to keep doing that."
Uh, yeah, you know what I was thinking of this. I don't know if you can see, it's a picture back here on the wall here. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
can see.
Yeah, so that was Reggie Braxton. I think it was self-titled Reggie Braxton. And I remember it was a legendary uh, DJ. Her name was Rosetta Hines. And she was like, everybody loved Rosetta. She was the ultimate as far as DJ. And she was just a connoisseur, so we kind of, he was into jazz. Everybody knew about Rosetta. So by the time I was ready, when I completed my first CD, and I remember she was playing at this hotel, and I went down and took my CD. I said, hey, Rose, Miss Rosetta. I say, I've been listening to you a long time, and I got some music, and I think that something that you may like. She said, well, baby, you know, um, I can't make you no promises, but I tell you what I will do. She says, you call me, I'll take it, I'll listen to it. And then you call me tomorrow, and then you say, she told me what to say. She said, say that I'm Reggie Braxton. I'm rolling with the rhythm on 105.9 with Rosetta Hines or something like that, right? And so I'm riding down, I never forget, I'm riding down Schaefer going up to Michigan. So next thing I hear, she said, I hear my voice saying, yeah, this is Reggie Braxton. I'm rolling with the rhythm with 105.9 with the Rose, or something like that. So after that, I heard my son come on the radio. That was the best feeling I felt in my life. Nobody's asked me that in a long time. And so after that, I said, man, something about hearing it coming out the radio. was just mind blowing for me. And so another guy that I didn't really know the guy. He knew me from playing ball in high school. He said, "Man, we got your your record down here." He said, "I like this other one." And I re-recorded this. It's called Notice Me, right? Man, they rocked that all summer. And to hear people, to hear your stuff coming out, man, you downtown and your song come on the radio. I said, man, now I don't need no money or nothing. It was just it was the best feeling ever. And and then people was, just the response that you get, Rich, man, that's cold, man, blah, blah, blah. So that was like, man, we coming down there and giving them 30. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so that was a really, really, I'm trying to really get back there, cause it's the way they have it now, it's harder. They can't, the radio, they can't just put anything on that they want. They have more of a stricter guidelines with the directors and stuff like that. But so really, and then now some of my music now has been played in other areas, but ain't nothing like really hearing it yourself coming out. I hear somebody else will say, man, well, I heard your music, but to hear it yourself come out is something. But no, to answer your question, man, no, that was one of the best feelings ever. And then to get that kind of response. And then, I was thinking about this, it takes doctors, they have to go to school 8 years or something, whatever, to be able to practice or, but to really get up, man, to be comfortable and go and study and play, it takes a long time to really get up there and perform in front of a group of people, man, to do your thing. It takes a lot of years. I mean, for me, that lets you somebody that, what do you call it? Prodigy. That certainly wasn't me. Like a Stevie Wonder, somebody that as soon as they sit down, they can play. And but I think for the most part, you learn your basics, whatever you're doing, and then it takes time and, to work out whatever you're doing. So it takes a lot of times to perfect this art of music, and it never ends, really, you know. Yeah, so I kind of get off on a tangent, but
Yeah, tell people what you got going on now. Do you got any thing coming up in 2025 and for the rest of the year?
yeah, so we're doing what we call now is Reggie Braxton Deluxe. And so what happened was really some great stories happened. Uh, I had a album out. It was 13 songs, and then I did some singles. One of them was with Erykah Badu, Next Lifetime. And then I did that from a man's perspective and really got a lot of attention over in the UK, where it was like the number one most requested. And then Georgie Porgy, I did a cover on that. And so those two, when I initially asked them, I wasn't allowed to put it on there. So I asked the guy that's been doing some promotion for us and being almost like a manager. I said, why don't you go back to the table and see if we can make that happen. So we were able to go back and they said, okay, fine. But what they needed to do was they wanted to review my whole project to see if it was worthy for them to be able to put this on there. So they reviewed we sent it to Erykah Badu's people. They reviewed my whole project. They said, okay, cool, we like it, but for only one stipulation. This guy's name is Norman Keys Hurt, who is a Grammy Award winning composer, whatever, musical director currently for Erykah Badu. He said, hey man, we like it, but I want to remix the tune. I said, of course, and so he did that and just took it to another level. And then I asked him, man, listen, I like for you to remix my whole album, right? We're able to work that out. So the album now, I think, is really there, you know. and I learned a lot even with that in terms of I wouldn't have known that, you know, you got the radio mix, you know, in terms of certain frequencies and things that uh, big people like this guy, for example, he said he's done it for Jay-Z all the way down to, you know, you don't get no bigger than Jay-Z. And so I said, well, wow, you know, this is a blessing if I ever heard one. So that's coming out now. We're coming out with this release, which is going to be soon, with the next few days. Where we're gonna like I guess you said re-release or we call this a deluxe, right? Because I added some songs on, and then you had to change the name in order to put it back up on DistroKid. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about with that. And
Oh
so,
yeah, I know it. I'm an artist too.
oh yeah, so okay, you understand what I'm saying then? Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited about that. It's going to be on all digital, you know, Apple, Spotify. I also have like maybe about 7 videos. You get a chance to check those out on the Brax-Tone Experience, right? And so looking forward to that. And then now trying to really get the marketing thing. So we're doing a lot of advertising and things like that to let people know what we're doing. And hopefully, as I said before, to get either one of these major labels or one of these indie labels to back you so you can get it out to the numbers. That's the only way you can, you know, I think to make it happen, you got to let a lot of people hear it. And so that comes from having the finance to do it. If you don't have it yourself, then you need some help, which could come from either an indie record label or one of the major record labels. So we're hoping that something like that happens.
Absolutely. So what are your goals short term for the next 1 to 3 years? What do you want to accomplish? And also let people know how they can keep up with your social handle wise, you know, with your YouTube channels and websites, things like that.
Yeah. Well, my goal is to, Eric, is to get that elusive hit. You know what I'm saying? And so that comes from you never know what it's going to be. That means that you got to continue recording, which is not, which is I can say a work of love and the recording aspect. But you got to keep recording. So I'll continue to do that. And as I said, short term, I'm hoping that something happens, whereas we get the broad listenership and build the fan base, you know, where people want to come out and hear Reggie Braxton and want to see what he sounds like in person. You know, you able to all of my music, this Brax-Tone Experience is on Spotify, it's on Apple. My Instagram is Reggie Braxton 007. Facebook is just Reggie Braxton. We looking at maybe adding a music page to that, maybe Reggie Braxton Music. And then, you know, like we're on all, like I said, we're on all the digital platforms, including YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a actual date for the project and things that you're dropping now?
Well, it's going to be within the week. It's going to be within the week. I don't have an exact date, but we will be posting this on social media. And so they tune in to Instagram or TikTok. So we're going to be putting more things on there. And then the big thing is just trying to really build my followers, right? And I understand now it's just more important with the social media to really try to take it to the next level with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. One last question I'd like to ask everybody. Give me your Mount Rushmore or musicians. Give me your top 4 dead or alive.
Wow. Singers?
It could be singers, it could be rappers, whoever you want to put up there.
Wow.
It's your personal Mount Rushmore, who you think, you know.
Wow. Well, I always have to include Luther Vandross. To me, was as far as singer, he just there's nobody like him, you know, in terms of what he does, what he did with his phrasing, tonality, you know, emotion. So he would be one of my top guys. You know, I like your guy I listened to a lot was Michael Franks. You know, I really whatever reason, man, this guy made me really want to get into what I was doing musically. And so he's one of my guys. It's hard to do four, man. It's just too many of them, you know. You say rap, whatever. I don't know, man. You know, when I think of rap, I always think of Biggie, you know, as far as the guy that really, man, I said, man, when I heard him do his thing, I said, man, I really like this guy here, you know. So he really, of course, there's others I like, but he's a big standout for me with that genre there. I don't know, Miles Davis. As far as, you know, musician wise, he was old school, but he was open to what was happening currently too. So he was a guy that understood the change, how music is constantly changing, but still music. You know, Quincy Jones, you know, these guys are just geniuses at what they do. And I don't know, I love Dionne Warwick as a female vocalist. You know, she was one of my favorites. I love all the new artists too, man. Like, you know, Janae sees all these, man. That, you know, I'm attracted to that sound as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this wraps up another episode of Eric J. the Great Podcast. Everybody go follow Reggie Braxton on all streaming platforms. Go check out all his projects and music. Be on the lookout for his new album that drops in the next couple of days. And then just run up all his social medias and stay tapped into what he has going on.
Thank you.
You know what I tell people? Success, if you can pay your bills, take care of your haircut, right, take care of your friend, go on a nice trip, you're happy, you made a good choice, you got the right people in your life, nigga, you won.
That's right.
That's success. We give people with the most money like they the most knowledgeable, not thinking they probably was at the right place at the right time.